right, happy February, everybody. Welcome back to our accessibility working group. I hope that all of you are doing well. Um, I know the April compliance deadline is starting to loom large on the calendar, so I hope your projects are moving along smoothly and that you're feeling supported by the group and all of the resources that we have offered to you so far and our discussions. Before we dive in, I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone that joined us today and has turned on your camera. It's great to see your faces, and I think it's really going to help us collaborate better, especially since we're in this new roundtable space. I know some of y'all aren't accustomed to being on camera, and if you're not comfortable, that's okay. But it's always great to see a face when you're talking to the screen. Sometimes it's hard when we're discussing, and I don't know if y'all want to say something, and I always hate to interrupt and cut you off. So I really appreciate y'all joining us with your cameras on today. I'm happy to get started to the main event. I'm really happy to introduce our director of GovHub, Jasmyne Epps. She's here to demo editorially. It's a accessibility tool for content managers. It's automatic, and it can help you catch those accessibility issues and easily fix them. The good news is, even if you're not on GovHub, you'll be able to maybe use this if you're on a certain platform. And I did see somebody with a hand up if you had a question before we get started.
I think someone was just waving.
Oh, okay, cool.
It was just a wave.
Awesome. Jasmyne, I'll hand it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Erica. And thank you guys for having me today and inviting me to this round table. Very happy to be here. Very excited to talk about this new feature that we've added to GovHub sites. So like Erica mentioned, this new feature is called the editorially, and it's spelled editorial 11Y, the whole abbreviation of accessibility at the end there. Checker. And then there's an automatic checker. There's no need to click a button to initiate the checker. It's always there for authenticated users or logged in users. It does not show for your unauthenticated visitors, so that's a good thing. And it's just there to help you maintain compliance through things that the editors can control. So like the content, the links, the images, and the structure of that content. So the things that the checker helps with and things that even non-GovHub users should also consider are things like the heading level order. Sometimes we make these pages and we embed different pieces of content, and we like to add headings so that the sections, are distinct and things like that. And so it helps you just make sure that those heading levels are in order. Alternative text, especially for decorative images. So things like this they require human intervention. So you're going to see those as warnings when you use the checker. So, don't be alarmed by having if you have like a page with a bunch of link icon lists or a bunch of uh, call to actions and things like that that may have images. It's just prompting you to ensure that those things have descriptive enough alt text, even if they are for decoration. And unclear link text, like click here, you're able to, as an editor, highlight text and add a link to it. And so that we would like for that to not be like click here, because if you're using a screen reader, it's not very descriptive of what you're clicking here for. So just, make sure that link text is descriptive enough. There was something else I was going to say. This link, this inline checker, it appears on the front end, which I'm going to show you when you're viewing the front end of content. And I'm getting a little bit of audio from folks, and it's kind of hard for me to I don't know if it's feedback from me or somebody else. Does anybody else hear that? I don't know if it's feedback from me or somebody else. All right, I'm gonna keep going, but if you can go on mute, that would be great. If you can go on mute, that would be great. Um, let's see. Okay, so the accessibility checker appears on the front end when you're looking at the content. It also appears in the WYSIWYG as you're typing content. And again, you don't have to click anything to initiate it. It's checking content as you type. Um, Unfortunately, you cannot disable the checker. It may be some nuisance to folks, but you can minimize it really small, and it's in the corner. I'm going to show you in a moment. But you can't disable it. If it becomes too much of a bother, try to remediate the things that are listed as violations, and those things are red and very apparent, and those are things you can fix and make that go away. You're always probably going to have a few warnings on the page just to manually check things, but again, you can minimize that, check it off, say that you checked it, and it maybe won't be so bothersome. Okay, and at the end of this, even if you're not a GovHub member, I'm going to share a link and show you this link where you can install this module if you're using a Drupal instance, even though you're not on GovHub. And it's also available for WordPress and Squarespace sites. So if you do have some other type of site and you want to use this checker, you can still use it. Okay, so any questions before I get into a demo? You might have questions after the demo, but just want to check to see. Okay, all right. I'm gonna figure out how to share my screen here. I'm new to Civic Roundtable, so give me a moment.
I don't know if it's the same for you, Jasmine, but on the bottom of the screen, there should be a toolbar in the middle.
Yes, I see it here. Just want to make sure I'm sharing a window and not my whole screen. You got a wide screen and it may look crazy if I share. All right, let's see. Okay. Share. Ooh, okay, and then it puts it over here, and I think, okay, got it. All right, so you guys see the GTA site. I'm pleased to announce that I was very hard pressed to find a page that had like red errors on it. So I'm only going to be able to demo just like what the checker looks like and some warnings. So this is the home page, and as you can see, we have these program icon lists here that show some images, and these are purely decorative. Let's see. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, these are purely decorative, but the checker you see has these little question marks here prompting us to manually check to make sure that, oh, this is a manual check saying that the link contains both the text and an image. So just check that the combined text is concise and meaningful for screen readers. So this is just an example, and it gives you really good guidance on how to go about remediating these things, or just doing a manual check, and you can mark it as ignored or mark it as okay. So I'm going to mark it as okay. And as you can see down here at the bottom, this little counter for the problem went from 4 to 3, and that question mark on this particular image isn't showing up anymore. If you want, you can also look at all of the heading levels just so you can get a visual of the structure of your content, which is pretty cool. You can see that everything is a H2 after this first H1. You only want one H1 on the page. These are the type of considerations that we took as we were developing these landing pages and the things that you can put on the landing page. We knew that, okay, you guys are going to put a hero, that should be H1. Everything else in the things you embed should be H2, just to take that burden off of you. So you can see those things there. You can also look at the alt text for your images all in one place that are on this page. So you can see and check at a glance instead of going one by one to see the alt text for everything. And I would say these things are pretty descriptive. So I feel comfortable, going through and checking each of these things off. Read more is not super descriptive, but we have solved that technically by putting an ARIA label on these types of things that tell you what you're reading more of. So even though you can't see like that on the front end, the screen reader knows and can read the ARIA label and give it more instruction on what it's about to read more on. Again, these are all things that you can mark as okay. If you get this one for read more or something like that, there sometimes people go in and type read more, even though you can like leave it blank and it'll say read more on its own or learn more in some instances. If you type in learn more, it's not going to automatically apply that ARIA label. So that's something that we're figuring out like how to ward against, so you can still not have to think about what's happening on the back end. If you were to type in learn more, it'll still apply that ARIA label for you. But I'm feeling comfortable to mark that as okay. So you see all my my errors or warnings are going down as I start to go through the page. Any questions? I'm gonna pause there for a second. Any questions? Okay. Cool. I love when demos go right. You know, every time you do this, like I planned last night, and then once I get in the demo, it all goes wrong. But
Yeah, this is Catherine. I did have a question on how you were marking ignore those. I don't think that I see the same thing as you, mark as okay.
yeah, you're correct. I am actually logged in as an editor, so you can't ignore things. Excuse me, I'm logged in as an admin, so you can't ignore things as an editor. You can just mark it as okay, or try to remediate it, it'll go away. So thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. I am logged in as an admin, and only administrators can ignore things. Because we don't want you to just go through and ignore everything. We want you to actually take a look at it and try to remediate it as best as possible. And if you have something that is just, you try to remediate it to your best ability, put in a support ticket and see if there's something that we can help you with. Thank you, Catherine.
Is there an additional cost for this? This is Carla at GVRA. Is there an additional cost if you're GovHub, not GovHub?
No,
Okay.
no. If you're
Okay.
not, if you do you use a Drupal instance for your site?
Yes.
Yeah, no. This is everything in the Drupal. This is a Drupal.org module.
Okay.
So everything on Drupal.org is free. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Any other questions? Cool. So I'm gonna show you one more thing, and that is the site report. Now I already have it pulled up here. Okay. So the thing with the site report is this only populates after you've visited an affected page. So that means this does not contain all of the errors on your site off the rip. It's not checking in the background. That would be like a super labor intensive task on our infrastructure if it was just always checking all of your pages. So you have to visit the site first, the page first. And if there's errors on that page, it'll show up in this report. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So I visited these pages. This is the home page, and I can actually refresh this because now I visited the home page and I resolved a couple of those issues, and it went down to 2 from 4. So this is just a report that you can get to from reports and content accessibility. But you can also get to it from the checker. Here, there's a link that says open site reports in new tab. And you get to the same page.
Jasmine, we do have a question. How do editors distinguish suggestions versus mandates when things are flagged in the checker?
Yeah, so again, it was really hard for me to find like errors because we wanted to make sure that we handled all of those things before we rolled them out to y'all. But the errors, things that you can fix and they'll go away, they're going to be flagged red. They're going to be a red flag. It's going to say error. These things are yellow and they're warnings, and they'll typically say manual check. Those things are just like, we just need a human to check it. Automated accessibility checking only catches about 25% to a third of actual accessibility issues automatically. Most accessibility auditing requires manual checking. It requires you to look at the image and make a determination. It requires you to use the keyboard to make sure that the tabs are in order and things like tabbing, navigation is in order. Like a lot of the auditing requires a human, so it's simply guiding you to make those manual checks. Those things. What was the other part of the question about violation or getting flagged or something? I'm sorry, I can't see the question.
No worries. It says, how do we distinguish suggestions versus mandates when things are flagged?
Got it. The mandates are going to be errors that you fix. Suggestions are probably going to say, or most of the time going to say manual check. It's not really a suggestion, even though it says, I don't think any kind of accessibility auditing is a suggestion, but I understand what you're saying. Something that maybe for you to prioritize what you should be focusing on, handle the things that are red and an error first, and then go through and do the manual checks and mark those things off as you see fit. Any other questions?
And I do have another few other questions. This one says, is this only visible per page, or is there a dashboard that shows all issues across the site collection?
Yeah, so it's on every page. It appears on every page when you're logged in. But again, it's not checking every page in the background. First, you have to visit that page. And if there are errors or anything on that page, then it's going to show up on this site-wide report. So first you have to visit the page. There has to be errors or warnings present on the page. Then they will populate to this site-wide dashboard. There is no way for us to check every page. Now, that's what Site Improve does. Site Improve is checking your entire site. And they have the infrastructure to handle it. So, yeah, hope that answers your question. Any other questions?
Another question that piggybacks off of that one is this different than the flags that they receive in Site Improve?
It may be. I think we noticed a few things that Site Improve weren't flagging, I believe. So it's good. It's like a good partnership with Site Improve and this tool, especially as you're creating content, because it's checking as you're putting things. I know like the typical content editor path isn't to just start typing stuff straight into the WYSIWYG. You're probably copying stuff from a Word doc or something and then pasting it into the WYSIWYG, which is perfectly fine. But the beauty of this is you can do the accessibility checking on that page you're creating before you hit publish. Site Improve is going to check it once that page has been indexed after you publish it. So it's a good just additional layer of help as you're creating the content.
Another question that was asked is, are the reports only visible to us? Are the reports visible to us as content editors or just admins?
Content editors too, yes. I was putting this together, I thought I had it all in order, and I forgot that there were differences between being an admin and a content editor. Really the only difference is that you can't ignore things. So if there's something, like I said, if there's something that you're like, okay, this is something I thought I took care of, let me consult with you guys about it, hit us up, and then we could go in and ignore it for you if that's the appropriate course of action. But yes, the content report or the accessibility report for the entire site is available to everybody.
Perfect. Another says, could you show us how to enable the editorially module? But if it's a GovHub site, it should automatically be enabled, correct?
There now. It was released last week before. Yes, it's there. No need to enable it. It is already there for you.
So we're caught up on questions so far.
Okay, great. So I will move then to showing the the resource here for Princeton, this is a nice little one-pager about the editorially module. Helps you understand what it's used for, what it's useful for. There's a nice little demo here and then screenshots. Talks a little bit more in detail about the tests that are being run with this checker. And then it also gives you resources in order to install and configure it on your site. So again, this is a free Drupal module, free WordPress module, and a free Squarespace module or injector. So if you have any of these other types of sites, it's there for you as well. But yeah, if you are already using Drupal, this is a Drupal.org module, and it's totally free. One other thing I wanted to just note, so when you're doing your manual auditing and you're making considerations, just consider that if the way that you're structuring your content and the way that the accessibility auditing really works is like machine to machine, because us as sighted, visual, or excuse me, sighted and auditory experience having people for the internet, it's not accessibility is about checking whether or not we can see it. It's checking whether or not another assistive technology can see it. If another assistive technology can hear it, read it, relay it to somebody who is not sighted or who cannot hear. So when you're making your considerations, just think about the experience for individual who cannot hear or see the thing like you can. And remember that these are machines talking to each other when we're making these determinations, right? It's a machine that's going and looking at the alt text. It's a machine that's going and looking at the captions and things like that. So just because we can see it doesn't mean a computer can see it. And that's what those things are for, is for a computer to be able to read it and see it. All right. Any other questions?
Yes, another question about the reports tab. If they're not able to see it when signed in as editors, should they reach out?
Yeah, because that's a problem. You should be able to see it.
Yeah. Lily,
Again,
I'll raise a
reports,
support request for you.
yes. Anytime you have a question, it can be just, you just want to say, hey, you can send us a support desk ticket.
Yeah, I see that someone else says they can't see it either, so I'll make sure.
Okay. Reports, content accessibility. So if you can't see that, definitely put in a ticket and we'll fix that.
Yeah, and I've made note of the folks that have said that they're not able to see it.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hey, Jasmine, this is Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
I am, as Erica, I'm sure, is seeing as well, everyone can't see the reports tab.
Everyone can't see it. Okay.
So I'm looking, do we need to expand the menu somehow, or is it just supposed to be up there like next to structure and content libraries and all that?
No, it's supposed to be up there in reports and then content accessibility. And then, so tell me what happens when you all have the checker down here in the corner, and do you see this open site reports in new tab? Does anyone see that? No. Okay. All right. So that may be something that we need to enable permissions. It's literally just a permissions thing. So let me report that back to our devs and see if we can get that in the next release, which is next week. Should just be a flip of a switch, so you can see that. But yes, thank you for the reporting. This is great. Good. Real time reporting. Only see the headings and alt text. Okay. Okay. Thank you all. I'm gonna, as soon as I leave here, I'm gonna report that, see if we can get that turned on.
Awesome. Do you all have any questions for Jasmine about the editorially tool? So there is one question that says, I noticed on our site it is flagging missing headings. But if I add headings in order like 1, 2, 3, the text is way too big. I just want the formatting of heading 3 or 4, but it seems to want me to create a 1, then a 2, and the fonts are way too big but not changeable.
Yeah, so I think you're referring to like if you have some text that's bold or something, the check is like, this is bold or it looks a little different. You want to make this a heading? And again, that's just like visual cues to that indicates the importance or the separation of content. And so I think it's just maybe suggesting that you make it a header, because we've seen that a lot too. Like you're wanting to structure it like a heading, but you don't want to use like an H1 or H2 or H3. So that may be one you ignore if you want, but that may come up on a report and site improve or something. May get complaints about it, but that's basically what it's saying. Like if you have some bold text or something that's in all caps or something like that. I think I have an example of that actually. Let me see. Here we go. Is it this? Is this uppercase text needed? It can be difficult for people to read. Is it something like that? Or something that's bold or it's saying, this is bold. Did you mean to make it a header? Yeah, I see that question from Leslie. If you want to, chat more about that, we can talk about it more on this call. But if you also want to take some screenshots and show us, then that'd be cool too. And we can help you interpret that. The headings have been helpful. Awesome, Catherine. I'm glad. Okay. Thank you, Stacy. Yeah, some people are using H4 and H3, skipping H2 because the headers look too visually large. Yeah, understandable. Yeah, that again, remember guys, accessibility is for the people who can't see. So I get for visual people that may be not what you want, as far as like the look and feel of the site, but just consider that that part is for non-sighted users. And maybe you can do one H2, maybe do one H2 and then do the rest H3 or 4, so you're not skipping. Maybe find a little like middle ground, because your title is going to be okay. I see Leslie share a microphone. The heading 3, but because they're way too big. So yeah, like if you can compromise with putting at least one H2 after that H1, because your title is always going to be H1. If you're using a landing page and you put a hero at the top or some sort of title at the top of the landing page, then it's always going to be H1. And so we've made everything that you embed on a landing page or in a WYSIWYG, those titles are H2s. So just consider that when you're structuring a page. If you want to put like a nice little CTA at the top that has an H2 and then make everything H3s and 4s after it because you don't like how big the H2s are, maybe that can be a compromise. But yeah, it's always going to scream about you skipping heading levels because again, it's checking for the structure that it would be given to someone who can't see it. Yeah, I have to look in the site improve saying you're missing an H1 because all our pages have an H1 on it. So I'm not sure what that's about. I'd have to, I haven't been inside a site improve in a while, so I'd have to look and see. If you could take a screenshot of that, Carol, and send it to the help desk, I'd love to check that out and just see if that's something that we need to fix. most of our pages are accordions and doesn't seem to like that formatting for headings. Yes, are you putting headings inside of the accordions? It's telling you need to put a heading in the accordion. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna check that out too. Yeah, I encourage you all. This is a new tool. You find some fishy stuff, like our team did a little bit of auditing using the tool, and we addressed some problems that only we could fix as the developers. But if you see some other stuff that is, because we only check like a handful of sites too. So if your site is experiencing something weird and you're not sure about it or you think it's wrong, please report it so that we can address it. Yeah, send us a link to the page, put in a support ticket, like screenshots, all those things, are very helpful. This is, like I said, this is a new tool. We don't expect it to be perfect right out of the box. 90 sites, thousands of pages, you guys are going to find things that we didn't see. So definitely send us a report or a help desk ticket if you find something that doesn't seem right to you. Yeah, that's what I was mentioning before. That's okay. That's what it's doing, Leslie. If you got bold text in the accordion, it is probably going to suggest that you make it a heading. And again, that's something that you can just mark as okay or try to ignore when you're on those pages, but you're not going to be able to mark it as ignored, unfortunately, because that's an accurate suggestion. And I know visually you may not like it, but again, see if there's any way that you can compromise for the people who can't see it. Okay. Any other questions? Right. Okay. Well, again, I'll stop sharing my screen now. Hold on. How do I stop sharing my screen? Give me a second. Okay. Okay, that works. Okay. But yeah, again, please, please, please report anything that is confusing, a weird user experience, error that's being reported that you cannot fix. So something that is flagging an error and it's not a WYSIWYG thing. It's not a content thing. It's something in the code that maybe we didn't catch. And we'll totally address that. Site Improve helps with that too. Site Improve will flag things that are in the code that you can't fix too. So hopefully if you see those things there, that you're reporting them to us. But we try to take care of everything that you guys could not fix. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jasmine, and giving us a demo of Editorially and answering all the great questions that we got.
Yeah, great question. All right, I'm gonna dip out if that's okay with you guys. I gotta prepare
Of
for
course.
it.
Thank you so much
Okay.
again.
Thank you guys. Great seeing everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.